Hello, so this is going to be a shorter entry today than we've done before, mainly just because there's only 3 exercises and I didn't record one of them. So my first exercise was calf raises, which I did indoors, just because it's a little bit more comfortable to do them on the stairs in the house than it is to do them outside. But they were exactly the same as in training log 2, so if you need to go back and take a look, then by all means do that. So also, one thing to mention is that this is actually my 5th training day of the week rather than my 4th. I didn't record my 4th, which was the plan for this week, purely because the rain is torrential and I had to do most of the session in the garage, which, I mean, there's just no room to film in there. So fingers crossed I'll be able to get the Friday session to you next week. So for today we have the Saturday session. So we've only got 2 exercises recorded. My Saturday session is only 3 exercises. Basically because I only really need 3 exercises just to get everything done, just to finish off my leg volume for the week. I don't like either of these exercises. They won't be staying with me when I go back into the gym, whenever that is, but I've got to work with what we've got at the minute. So we're starting off with a single leg deadlift. Not starting off, after calves. Single leg deadlift. It might look like I'm not extending all the way up here. I find that if I extend my hips any further, I probably lose tension on my hamstring a little bit. And because of the balance aspect, it's not easy to get that back once you've lost it. So I tend to stop just short of lockout. But that is, I mean, I get a lot of glute doing these anyway. So it's not the end of the world for me that I'm not coming all the way up. In terms of, I mean, you could do a B stance instead of this, but for me, the weight that I've got doesn't really support a B stance. It's just be too easy, really. Whereas this is quite challenging. I mean, balance plays a big aspect, but there we go. I'm leaning on the table here, but trying to put as little weight as possible through my hands. I try and put just my fingertips on top of the table, and just use it for balance wherever possible. I didn't record my second set, and I fell over on both legs during my second set, so it is completely normal if you're doing these that you lose balance during the sets. It's just part of the exercise. Whoa, range just got more intense here. So my third and final exercise of this day is a split squat, which is probably my least favourite exercise of the week at the minute, just purely because of the pain, though, to be honest. I'm trying to keep my weight forward a little bit. When I stay too upright, I find I get a massive stretch in my hip flexor and not so much quad on the working leg. So yeah, I keep my weight a little bit forward. I'm almost thinking about keeping my weight on my toes a little bit and then leaning forward. That's the best way to get a lot of quad, I find, for me anyway. If you are looking to get more glute from these, I would still recommend leaning forward, but probably taking a slightly wider step and putting more weight through your heel. It's not going to make a massive difference whichever way you do them, but you probably will feel just a little bit more glute that way. And here's just the next leg for you. So the way I'm going to progress this, I've started a new training block this week. So the sets are quite low. It's 3 sets on both of these exercises. And basically that's just going to increase by 1 each week. So it'll be 4 sets of everything next week and 5 sets of everything the week after, which I'm not looking forward to. Basically just because I'm using as much weight as I can here, so there's not a lot else I can do in terms of progression rather than just pushing the sets up. So that's going to be my way of progressing volume over the next few weeks. Part of the reason why I've only got 3 exercises here is because right now this session took me about 40 minutes, which is fine. But when it gets to 5 sets of everything, it's going to be looking at taking well over an hour. And when you're doing 3 exercises you don't particularly enjoy, you don't want to do any longer than that, or I don't anyway. So that is it for this session for today. Hopefully next week I should be able to get the session 4 of the week to you. And then I think after that I'm going to start mixing things up, probably talking about why I'm doing certain exercises the way I'm doing them. Yeah, just to explain a little bit more as to why my training looks the way it does. And fingers crossed, within a month maybe of now, we might all be back in the gym. So hopefully there'll be some new exercises there for you as well. If you've made it this far, thank you for watching. And yeah, I'll speak to you next week.